Hi everybody, it's December 24, 2023. I wanted to take this time to read a little bit more of the book that I started reading. I'm skipping around a little bit here because it's a long book and I'm only going to delve into some of the chapters that you might find interesting. It's the book GangStalking and Psychic Possession, Servants of the Master Builders of Illusion by Eliza and Parr. It's this book here. Okay, so there you go. We're going to focus on this for the recording. But this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please hit the thumbs up. Help the channel grow. Get the message out there. Combat the cyber stalkers. Early Merry Christmas to everybody. Hopefully you're with your family and having a good time and eating some good food. I'm just going to read some of this. GangStalking and Psychic Possession, Servants of the Master Builders of Illusion. I did read... I did leave off, I believe, at chapter 4 in my last reading, but I'm going to pick up on chapter 9. Chapter 9 is the usurpation of individuality and empowerment that leaves us as slaves to the Master Builder's illusions. And you'll hear my roosters in the background. I discovered today that I have one more rooster. I thought she was a hen, and then suddenly, I hear this odd crowing in the background, and it's like, okay, my girl transitioned into a rooster. So anyway, governments are told what to do by the richest people in the world, investment bankers and powerful holders of equity. Do you really think a president or prime minister has the time to scout out what's really going on? Who gives him his information? Does he get it from the internet or the daily papers? Who provides it for him or her? He or she is briefed or told that the government's agenda by the agents of the master builders. These agents are controlled by the intelligence agencies. The intelligence agencies' agendas are directed to protect corporate power, not you or me. Hence, why they don't get involved in investigating gang stalking or directed energy use or satanic ritual abuse of individuals, because these things are weapons to protect corporate power and the master builders' ideals. The maintenance of the system, the structure we live, work, and play, relies on the Fortune 500 businesses and the very rich investors, those in power at the top, staying where they are. This is the first concern of governments, because without the structure, the businesses, there would be no commerce, no jobs, no taxes, and no stock exchange. Top corporate power upholds the whole structure in every modern society. Who then is at the top? Who is in control? The corporations and entities that the intelligence agencies protect are those big businesses, the Fortune 200 and 500 companies, the conglomerate and household names that monopolize your high street, in which their products you fill your cupboards and shopping baskets with week after week after week, and the royals. These corporations are linked to equity investment and the stock exchange. It is these very rich investment bankers that the very rich royal families which control our governments, and not the politicians or the ballot box. If a policy is not conducive to their agenda, then it is overruled or scraped. In some cases, political unalivings are made. I'm just going to have to say that, boys and girls. These are not my words. I'm just reading a book. These rich bankers and owners of are owners of household names, but not limited to Soros. I know he spelled it wrong here. Are members of the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. They're think tanks that work closely with social conditioning institutes to devise the shaping of our society, what the masses of society should buy, its values, education, and health, including diet and entertainment. Directing these agendas in consort to the corporations and their investors, and it does not concern what is good for you particularly, hence the promotion of bone-softening, neuron-inhibiting, aspartame-laden, massive profit-gathering soft drinks, like a soda pop. The social conditioning centers exist to promote commerce and increase the profit of big Fortune 200 and 500 corporations and make us, the masses, easy for them to manage. Our society, remaining as we know it, depends on us going along with the values and fads they promote. And over time, and with the help of the Freemason-run councils, independent enterprise has been overtaken and independent small shops demolished in renewal programs. Large superstores and chains now largely replaced with independent grocers, pharmacists, florists, fruit and vegetable dealers, butchers, boutiques, you name it. All this may look accidental, but the master builders, the people behind these decisions, project outcomes and trends years in advance, so it cannot be by accident. It is a slow usurpation of empowerment, profit, and independence away from the individual and into the hands of the big corporations, the master builders. The same is being done in almost every town, and I'll explain how this ties into gang-stalking. So, local pubs, with the advent of the smoking ban, has been forced to close and have left a consumer gap. This has not accidentally been replaced by the proliferation of the standardized corporate-owned so-called gastropubs. I don't know what that is, folks. And like every product from the big corps, offers consumers a standardized experience no matter where they go. That this has negatively impacted the local music scene of every town isn't an oversight, because at the grassroots level, many new talent would develop and showcase their art at the various pubs and clubs that have been forced to close. This reduces the potential of anything new musically coming through that isn't controlled and overseen by the corporate entity. This author believes that the ability and the goods of human grassroots artists is being intentionally suppressed because music has the capacity to be used as programming or to influence, uplift, or inspire by communicating energetic information from the artists. And I'm just going to interject here. There are quite a few artists that started playing on TikTok that are now somewhat famous, and they're their own record label. It's phenomenal. There's that guy Jake. There's another country singer. Oh my goodness. I'm just forgetting the names right now, but there are about 5 or 6 of them. A couple of females too. Many artists, painting, sketching, and stuff that wouldn't normally be discovered, but they were on TikTok. So it can encourage and express the profound and joyful, as well as serving as social adhesion prop, getting like-minded people of similar mood that come together. Without feeling and heart, what are we? Just intelligent program robots? It has always been this soul quality, Pneuma, which the inferior serpent attacks. Yes, they don't like the soul, guys. They don't like joy. Cleverness and intellect without truth or soul is what it consists of, after all. So the trend has been in all areas to take away power and control of any individual livelihood and even recreational pursuits and make it corporatist. Look around and observe what's happening in your own town. Not just what the media tells you. It is part of an overall Illuminati plan to restrict and control every part of mankind, even his or her spirituality. Replacing individuality run bars and pubs with pubs that encourage eating and drinking, rather than people getting together to make music and be creative or dancing, is actually a reduction in the energy being radiated due to the knock-on effect. The corporate elite don't want people to influence each other or come up with new ideas that don't fit into their plan. They spend too much time and money, a la the anal retentive Tavistock, in order to influence and create boundaries for the populace. People doing their own thing is a no-no. Just like, have you listened to that Noah Harari? Yeah, individuality, that's over, he says. That's over. Now we are now hackable objects to be controlled. We are hackable. No more individuality, he says. Were you not perhaps unconsciously fighting in some way to be free of some restriction? Wasn't it true that you were aware of a resistance even within yourself before you became a victim of gang stalking perpetuated by those outside of you? This energy takes many forms. One way it restricts you is through social norms, upheld by those programmed around you, courtesy of the media and the corporate-run social conditioning machine. It is the only serpent in its various disguises. Knowing the truth is breaking away from the mass conditioning, as everyone is conditioned not to know the truth. And as people are programmed to believe the lie, and not knowing the truth of themselves, they will defend it as if it represents some part of themselves, even though it is restricting them. This attack by those programmed around you is what keeps people in line and conforming to the herd, who are in turn programmed by the social conditioning machine. It isn't a high energy state because the energy coming through the person is being used up to enforce the illusions and programs which are herdal. Herdal, like herding. What you are trying to free yourself of throughout your life is the same energy that I speak of in this book, and which is personified and exaggerated in the gang stalkers attacking you. It is the serpent energy that is running and possessing them in the moments they're stalking you. And this comes from the creators of our world, the master builders of duality. Unless electronically controlled, would anyone act so twisted and mean? If they could feel transcendent states, or peace, or unconditional love like you could? Their job is to uphold the illusory, not the truth. This is done by manipulating higher energy into lower. The master builders use facets of the same thing, illusion, to control us. In actuality, they themselves are controlled by it, and they do not have the intrinsic soul energy to break free of it, but we do. Secret societies and corporations may hold the attitude that they are using the power over the innocent, unaware human beings in order to get them to remain as slaves, or to the benefit of society in some way, but it is the serpent living through and using the master builders that seek to perpetuate itself. The arrogant, controlling, predatory power that comes of the left brain bias, psychopathy, is untreatable because it is due to a physical flaw in the processing area of the human brain that is associated with empathy. The master builders are so afflicted and encourage this trait of ruthlessness through inherited psychopathy by intermarrying. Right, that's like inbreeding, right, folks? They're marrying their cousins, their brothers, their sisters, their best friends, whatever. They are wired up differently than empaths by cerebral design. These master builders, for the purposes of inciting wars for profit and control, activate by clever rhetoric and social conditioning an older, less evolved part of our human brain that exists within us. This is the part that houses the flight or fight reactions needed for self-preservation of the animal. The hind brain, sometimes called the animal or reptilian brain. It is retrogressive. When this part of the brain is dominant or energized, humans, even those capable of empathy, become disconnected from the expanded states and so primed, can resort to territorial or defensive attitudes and actions in desperation. This part of the brain, being primitive, does not think or rationalize. It is immediate reaction. Its immediate reactive emotion without reflection and was the instinctive self-preservation survival apparatus designed to help defend us quickly, long ago, in times of attack or vulnerability. Such a person, due to the lack of time, rational processing, and available inner knowledge of love or truth, has limited options by dint of the fruits of their physical machinery, and is very easy to program by propaganda. Truth, self-knowledge via meditation, rewires the brain so that this reptilian primitive function is bypassed and the bigger picture is seen, so that one is capable to choose how one will respond rather than just react. Can you see how the media brainwashing and political scams, the false flag incidents directing the public opinion in order to cause wars and conflicts, wouldn't work if the majority realized and switched over to this brain state? It's very easy to program someone whose brain state operates the old way, because it's very easy to program those who don't have access to the truth or love. It's easy to create hurdle behavior in one operating from such a brain state, too, because such a brain state is without individual reflection and tuned into the hurdle zeitgeist. Social conditioning purposely encourages this brain state because such a person is malleable to trends when pushed off equilibrium and can be easily influenced by media programming and propaganda to do what the master builder's bidding, fight wars, be outraged if directed, as well as persuaded by advertising. Oh yes, it's like called the better good, good for everyone. The better good. The Luciferian controllers willfully reject the emergence of this evolutionary brain enlightened state. Not to say that they're all unenlightened. The most powerful practitioners of Satanism will have some knowledge of that state, but they have refused to give themselves over to God or love. It is their dedication to obtaining power over others and control. They are instead choosing to play a second-rate God. The lotus of enlightenment is the sensation of the original energy flooding into and recovering parts of the human brain from the possessing energy of the inferior serpent. That happening in any number of bodies on earth is what the serpent's gates or ring pass not exist to prevent. By doing this, the serpent and the master builders both work together to defend the illusion. For an example of how this would affect the master builder's control and profits, would you need 20 of the new season's lipstick shades or numerous cable channels if you were enlightened? Probably not. People wouldn't be as easily programmed to buy so much. As part of its defense, the serpent seeks to constantly distract you from forming neural pathways that could lead to you experiencing both the truth and this more self-sufficient brain state. Whether you call this energy your own thoughts, negative emotions, or other people's actions that trigger these associations in you, it is the same energy. Any words or descriptions of it are just variations of it. The inevitable exposure of their Luciferian ideology and associated corruption and deceit has prompted a worldwide pro-nationalism movement evident by the number of books and channels available by which whistleblowers now expose the elite and their systems. There is the beginning of lost faith in the structures, especially with regard to policing and the legal system. However, the tactics, not the rhetoric, they are using on victims reveal the true intentions, which are restriction and repression. Gang-stalking injustices lead to more pro-nationalism being expressed, which promotes the resulting counterforce, tighter controls, and further secret tortures inflicted by a system that must target the victim indefinitely, or else risk the person winning back their principalities. The promotion of hedonism and the distracting meaninglessness of entertainment proffered should, they hope, be an effective strategy to keep the masses, too distracted and too focused on their tension release, and so from looking too deeply into this and becoming aware of how it works. The illusion profits from keeping you tied to materialism and hedonism, but your consciousness and potential for developing the neural pathways that lead to the enlightened state that can be awoken. Therefore, there must either be a new type of genetically engineered human cyborg without this potential, or else the distractions of more intensity of the world is to continue in its materialism with the master builders remaining at the helm. This is why the stalkers, he's calling them gang stalkers, the criminals on patrol. This is why they want to interfere with everything that you're doing. They don't want you to have deep thought. They'll have people knocking on your door. You'll have a new alert. You'll have a cyber stalker. Somebody will be sending you a text message. Your phone will ring and it's a spam call. These creatures on your YouTube channel making ridiculous statements in a video that has nothing to do with the video. So in chapter 10, they go into asset management in the Order of the Knights of Malta. I'm not going to read that. It's the members of the Masonic Order of Malta. I'm going to fast forward to chapter 17. Okay. This is an interesting topic. The technology to achieve takeover. By their fruits ye shall know them. We the masses are way behind in our awareness of what is technologically possible, and in use pertaining to the capability of current technology to control the human mind. Keeping us asleep is essential. But we are not only controlled and socially conditioned by psychological and electronic means, we are also controlled electromagnetically. Only until mind and body possession has been achieved in a critical mass, then the remainder who are not completely possessed and who can see what's going on and alert the others will be negligible to the grand plan, and all others who might listen will be under control. Our understanding of how evil and degenerate those are who want this technology in place are, and how unimaginable to most of the purposes behind its real use. We are not the same as them, and herein lies the cover for the abuse. Our sensibilities cannot conceive of it. We are literally, due to our ignorance, unaware that there exists much lower, antagonistic, degenerate levels of consciousness, a different species here on Earth that hides itself and its agenda by pretending to be like us. Spoon-fed or not, consider this, and ridiculed if we mention it. We are either lambs to the slaughter or controlled sheep. Nanotechnology, tissue engineering, and electromagnetic blueprints. In the last-ditch attempt to keep a balance of control in the Serpents' favor is the development of technology to achieve the takeover. It is a quality of the attackers, however, because they exist in a wider realm than corporeal three-dimension reality, that they can foresee potential counter-reaction before it manifests. They are masters of the game of human chess. After all, they constructed all of your illusory beliefs, and within this field know any and all possible moves that you might make. However, you still have free will. They can only anticipate and cover all contingencies as best as they can. Their technology can include nanotechnology and invisible beam frequency weapons, stealthily and deniable. They can get rid of opponents by the use of these covert weapons and energies, silent subliminal influencing, causing the victims to commit crimes or act irrationally in a way that will be construed as dangerous to the public. The real truth is that all of these machinations and technologies and diseases come from the serpent, and are enacted through our rulers, the master builders. The serpent is sly and clever, and it has been running people's consciousness and the illusion through its accomplice, the master builders, Satanists, all along. It is the original alien, and it never left. There is some archaeology that points to humankind having been tampered with genetically, presumably, in order to reduce our awareness down to the current illusory reality, for the purpose of us to remain slaves to these entities and to build the illusion. This has allegedly come from flyers. The Anunnaki or serpent people depicted in the ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian stone carvings. Those are still the overlords of the illusion today, and they look just the same now and have the same powers and agenda as they always did. But today they are hidden due to the knowledge about the presence and control purposely being covered up and even destroyed by the entity itself or its agents. Do you ever question why the world evolves? To keep us clever, but asleep? The current advances, quote unquote, can they be termed advances if they're used for diminishing the expression of man's spirit? Its technology is just more of the serpents. Humans are small incarnations of the God force, unlimited life. They have been deliberately held back by the serpent. The control mechanism is anal retentive. You can do this. You can't do that. This is acceptable. This isn't acceptable. It's all control. The casual being behind your personality doesn't pay mind to such things as shoulds and can'ts. It is true expression of what it is and not programmed by the controlling mechanisms of implanted fears, ifs, shoulds, or can'ts. Those keep the primitive impulses in check, but are unnecessary when one has empathy. Seeing through this enables us to access our power, to be more of ourselves, which is all the can'ts, ifs, shoulds, and fears block. Undoing any part of the illusion that chains us results in us starting to feel free. That's when we may encounter the oppressor in full force. It seems that none of the blocks that were suppressing you, and which you've now removed, were there by accident. You may realize the energies attacking you actually lived through you only by dint of the programs you embraced, and that you allowed them to install in you, and only through your innocence, unawareness, or blind trust. So I'm going to end here, guys. This is, I just finished chapter 17. I hope you enjoyed some of it. I thought it was interesting. They talk about keeping you under a kind of a hypnosis in chapter 18. They want to keep you enmeshed in the material world. And that our brains think differently because the controllers possess psychopathy. They lack empathy. And their brains will not change. They inherently operate differently than the empath, which is why a lot of empaths become involved with narcissistic relationships. The narcissist is always attracted to the empath with the ability to control them. It's also that the empath has something that the narcissist doesn't possess. So they like to exploit it and control it. And that's what the people in a position of power, these controllers, this is the way they think. Look at these creatures at the World Economic Forum. That Noah Harari, Bill from the Gates of Hell, Obama, all these people in a position of power. They're lunatics. Really, they are lunatics. They are psychopaths. They're personality disordered. At the very minimum, they're personality disordered. There's something inherently wrong with them. There's some other things I'd like to say about how their eating habits and their personal habits also alter the way they think and their personalities, but I can't say it on BayTube. Okay, so it has to do with I'm not even going to say it, folks. It's red, you know, it's red. But I'm going to sign off for now. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the thumbs up. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Signing off for now. I read from GangStalking and Psychic Possession, Servants of the Master Builders of Illusion by Eliza M. Parr.